Tell.
You ready?
Yeah, there's somebody.
He said he's in.
Is his name Dane?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you,
No,
Raymond.
not yet.
Hey, Eamon, make sure that we're not gonna get feedback on the YouTube thing.
No.
Let's go ahead and pull them in. Mr. Waters?
Is he muted?
He's not. Dane, Mr. Waters, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. Hello.
Okay.
We're having a little trouble with the speaker to hear you on this side. We're working on it.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
You had the same trouble like a month ago? No, yeah, we did. At times.
Yeah, they have a volume now. Let me try
Mr. Waters?
Can you hear us?
Yes. Yep, I can hear you.
We still can't hear you, unfortunately.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
The microphone is off.
Yeah, I'll switch mic.
He can hear us.
You can hear me now?
And he's speaking. We can see him speaking, but we can't obviously hear him.
I need something.
Yeah, it should be working.
It's just going so that he's not.
Looks like it's working for me.
Managers right now.
Okay, no, I'm drinking sound. So it's not the computer.
Hello. Yeah.
Man, I don't know where speakers are.
Hello.
Are these the only two now? This one and the affidavit at 1:30?
Yes,
Okay, so we got a little time to try to work this out.
right. We had 2 no-shows on
Yeah.
the 1/3.
Is the other affidavit Taylor?
Okay, Dane, could you say something for me real quick?
Yeah, test. Test.
There you go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Waters.
Good afternoon.
This is Charlie Powers. I don't know where the camera is, over there. We have some administrivia to go through before we get started.
All right.
We're opening a hearing on case ID 2021-78, account 15664. This hearing is being recorded. We are the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protest today.
All right.
You can see the whole table. The people at the table here are the Appraisal Review Board. Mike is over in the corner there. He's a district representative.
Right here.
We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. The Comptroller's Office provides an electronic survey for you to offer feedback for your experience today that may be accessed at the appraisal district office or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary. We do appreciate it if you take it. You have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. This will be a document you will receive in the mail after this is complete. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Do we have all of your evidence?
I believe so. Did you guys get the bill of sale and like the survey that I uploaded along with the form?
Yes, you got the form, yes.
Okay.
Closing statement?
ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. And I'll begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 4166F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath.
My name is Michael Sutter, do solemnly swear affirm the testimony you shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Mr. Waters, I'm assuming that you are under oath as a result of the affidavit you signed.
Yep.
Okay. Do you hold a license or certificate from the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board?
No.
You're not an appraiser?
Nope.
Okay. Do you have the hearing procedure times in front of you?
No. I mean, like when? No, I don't.
Okay.
Is that
Well-
the agenda?
No, this is times speaking and questioning and rebuttal. We'll walk you through it.
Okay, thank you.
That's no problem. Would you like to speak first, or would you like the district Mike to speak first?
I mean, I could just speak to the things that I was protesting, I guess. Does that work?
That
Okay.
works. So
You have 5
5
minutes.
minutes to start.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just two things well, maybe three things. First thing was just the sale in general. I paid $370,000. And so that was obviously under the amount that the house was appraised for, or I guess taxed at. And so I, the very least would at least appreciate a $370,000 tax appraisal. The other thing was the covered porch. It said I had 250 square feet, and I estimated 168 square feet. I think the reason why is it was assumed that the front porch was like 9 feet, and I believe it's only 6 feet. So that was one price adjustment area. And then the other was the house rating. That one I'm kind of on the fence of because, I think it's rated at a 5. And I do have hardy plank. I have quartz countertops. I have one bathroom that has tile. The other one is not tiled. So I just don't have a lot of evidence to be able to compare interiors with other houses, but I don't know. That one I'm on the fence of. I just didn't think it was that nice, but if you guys convince me otherwise, I understand. But those are my 3 points.
Okay. So Mike, you have cross-examination and then your presentation.
Right. In answer to the cross-exam time, I guess I'll just get the porch that's covered. Can I look at the pictometry to see where the covered porch area is, please? Just trying to answer the question of, the discrepancy, Mr. Waters.
Sure.
Just the pictometry, just overall. Because you're saying that one is, we have it like 9 by something, and you're saying it's 6 by something?
Yeah, it's on the side furthest from the road. So if you look at 60 Capano, not the side on the road, that side's actually not covered at all. It's the side closest to the bay.
You're going to be able to see, but we're going to hit the lights a little bit to where we can see better in here.
Sure.
Okay. So we're just talking on the back side here. We're just talking, is this
Yes. Yep. That's, yeah.
feet? Is that right? Go ahead, click that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're showing 7. So, but it's by the width of the house. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's 22 feet, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, what did I do? 22 times 6, I think it should be 168. Let me see.
That's 132.
Oh, okay, well then maybe it's not 22. It might be bigger than 22. I think it was in that.
At 28 by 6 is what it's looking like, or something like that.
Yeah. I put the survey that would show the length. That's where I got that number from.
So that's 168. Yeah, I did. I turned them on.
I can turn it back on.
Yeah, I turned it back on. The first one, the closest one. Oh, okay. There you go.
It's not a problem.
Yeah.
6 by 28. That would be
That's 168. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, you know, it is what it is. He's bringing it to our attention. Be glad to make that point, or glad to concede that point. There's no problem there.
Great.
Yeah, as far as the, I think that's all I have for the cross-examination time. So for me to continue on with my presentation, I have to assume that everything's kind of correct, and then we can address that one thing. But for the purposes of looking at my grids, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be able to on the fly make that adjustment to the porch on every single one. I'm affirming to you that I'll make that correction. Let me go ahead with my evidence. Can you see everything okay from your vantage point, Mr. Waters?
Yeah, I can't really read the screen, but I can see all of you guys, but not. I mean, I can.
Hey, you've got the evidence package, right?
Yes. Yeah. Let me pull that up.
So the very first thing is it's just obviously just the cover page here. The second thing is the card. We'll get to the second screen. And, you know, as you indicated, we have a market value of 186,000 and change on it. The subject did sell this last year for 370 and change. And the subject property owner has told you that, hey, that's what he bought it for in October of 20. The market is rapidly moving in and about Aransas County, specifically in this area. And he's not the only one that bought in this area. So this is right off of Copano Ridge Road. And you can see that all of these are called C Ridge, which stands for Copano Ridge. As far as the neighborhood, it's just a grander, bigger thing instead of just right here close to the front. The subject is obviously the sale of the very first one. The next one is another sale that's a little further down the road. This one sold for 427. The classes are the same. The years are almost identical. And you can see that when compared with the subject property, this renders a value of 432 and change. Comp number 3 on the next page is one on Linden Lane. Again, this one, you can see that this one sold for 396, another 5 FP plus, almost the same age, and it renders a value of 395. Continue on. Okay, go back. I'm sorry. I just want to reaffirm that we understand that the subject property sold for 370 and change. It wasn't the only sale. He was just one in a myriad. He was caught in the river of market sales moving in that direction. The market median value is 395. So in this case, the subject property owner paid a little bit less. In many cases, the subject property owner could pay a little bit more, but we're still going to this median value as our supporting number for the subject property value. And you can see that 395 is more than the 386 that we currently have on the subject property. Moving on to equity, that was the other thing on the protest. How are other things in this area, how are they appraised? Not necessarily sales, but these are other properties. Again, 390 is this value. This is at 326 Copano Ridge, 107 Copano Ridge. Again, another 5 FB. These are another 5 FB, another 5 FB. Again, these are all within a year or two of the subject property. How are they appraised? That one's appraised at 412. This is appraised at 465. There's adjustments in the land where necessary. There's adjustment in any of the segments which are necessary. Again, this is supporting the value of 391. Again, supporting the value of 386 that we have on the subject. Now, if you go back, 391, can you go back? Notice the 391, 395. Whenever we see two grids that are congruent like this, it makes us feel really confident in the data set, at least, so it's saying that, hey, in this area, we feel that this is the number, the 395 or the 391. There's a high congruency there. We obviously understand the subject over 370. I would just, say that the evidence points that the guy got a better than average deal, when he did it. So good negotiation on your part, sir. And that's all we got.
Okay. Now, protester has 2 minutes for cross-examination and 2 minutes for rebuttal. You need them.
No, I mean, I don't know. I get that the houses are appraising now. I bought in, October. I don't know. I realize perhaps the market's going up, and if it's slightly over 370, it makes sense. But I feel like the amount that I purchased it at is by definition how much it's worth. So that'd be my only input there.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
District, you have 2 minutes.
The only thing, and I'm not speaking to the property owners much, that, he made a statement that obviously the market value sales transaction at 370 is relevant to market value. That's a fair statement. What I would say to the board is that if that's the case, that the market value sales transaction should be no more than 370, then in future cases, I'm going to affirm to the board that you're going to see some sales that are going to exceed what they paid for. You're going to see some market values at some price, and they're going to have paid more than that. So if that's the standard, then we should not even look at this median value stuff. So I'm okay with it either way. I'm just affirming to you that in future cases where somebody pays more and they say that doesn't matter, of course it matters, just like it matters here. Is it one data point? Of course it is. That's why we look at the median. But no doubt, Mr. Waters has strong evidence that the subject property sold at 370. He was one of many sales out there. And we've got a value of 386 and change on the property. And that's all we got.
Mr. Waters, when was your sale completed?
I'm sorry.
When was your sale completed?
Oh man, I don't remember the exact date. I think it was late September. It's in that document I uploaded.
Last year.
Yeah, October.
Can you do the evaluation of what the difference would be?
Yeah, I can do that right now. I mean, Mr. Waters, the board has instructed me just to go ahead and make the change on the porch. And we're
Okay.
green, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the lights in hopes that you can. I'm gonna just say what's going on. So basically in that, we did the calculation, and it was the covered deck that we're overriding on this area right here to 168.
Okay.
So value from 6360 to 4240. It's about a $2,000 change or something like that. Okay. Summary and recalculate. And the number goes, it just, like I said, it changes to 383 and change, 383,700 instead of 386, almost a $3,000 change. That's all we got. But yeah, there's no contest there for sure.
Okay. We're in his last minutes.
District, 1 minute.
I think he went first. Didn't he go first?
Yeah.
So,
I don't have anything else.
All right.
okay.
You have a minute, Mike.
Yeah, all I would say is that, is his sale relevant to the subject property market value? Absolutely. Is it one of many? Yes. In future cases, when somebody tells you that they paid more and that market value does not matter? Of course it does. So all I would say is if this board's gonna go to 370, no problem. You win, not a problem. But in future cases, when somebody pays more, it's absolutely relevant. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so we have 5 minutes to deliberate.
Okay, so we're taking $3,000, basically, 386 to 383.
Yeah.
I'd be comfortable with
I would,
what?
380.
380?
I'm comfortable with 370. I mean, he purchased it, it was an open market sale. Only a few months before
You got a really good buy out.
he did. But yet it was not.
That doesn't affect necessarily the value of what it is. I've got a 375.
I'm good with that.
Right. Okay. Make a motion.
I'll make a motion on regarding count 15664 in relation to incorrect appraised market value, appraisal ratio exceeding maintenance level of appraisal, that the protester has been given us reliable information regarding the price to pay for the house. We're going to reduce it based on the size of the porch and on the amount to be paid for the property, bringing the value to 375.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done. Mr. Waters, did you understand?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear the numbers you guys were. What was the final number?
375.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay,
Thanks, Mr. Waters.
we're done.
Good evidence. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Hearing is closed. So what did you say we had? We have an affidavit?
Yeah, I believe that's what Val said, yeah,
Oh, okay.
just like a written
I
application.
believe we have
Yeah.
someone, I believe we have someone zoomed in here.
I tried to get in.
Oh, it was you. Well, I saw it was Scott's iPad. I didn't, sorry.
And I decided I wasn't going to. Can you expound a little more about your, not necessarily concern, but you were talking about the difference when somebody buys it for less versus somebody buys it for more.
Okay, so my point in this, and it's a matter of record, because I just said it live, and I'll say it again, that this person's purchase at 370 is absolutely relevant to market value. Absolutely. He was one of many sales. So if his sale is relevant, and he just happened to pay less, then it's relevant. My only point and my only directive, and the board's going to do what the board's going to do. But my point is that when somebody comes to you later in the year and they paid more and they tell you that it's not relevant, that the market value of what they just paid is not relevant, I'm just saying that if it's good one way, it's good the other.
But what would somebody's argument be if they paid more because the market value that you said is less?
They're
They're going to argue and say that they want it to be even lower than that?
Okay, we shouldn't. We're not talking. We're talking in generalities.
Yes,
But-
exactly.
But I'm just saying, not if it happens, when it happens. All I'm saying is that I've said what I've said in this hearing, this previous hearing. It's just let it be relevant if it's relevant. If it's relevant, then it's relevant. I'm saying it's absolutely relevant.
I think we've always considered it that way.
People sometimes pay more for a property than it's valued at.
Sure.
They really want the property.
Right.
They're willing to spend the extra money. Do
Sure.
they really believe it's worth that much? Probably not. They just want that house.
Oh, so they want to, somebody's going to come in and try and argue that, or argue that
Exactly.
it's actually less than the market value, even though they paid more.
Exactly.
Okay. That's what was confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
I'm not going to say anymore. I made my point. So.
these are
Do you know which the
Democrats, right?
Oh,
Could
boy.
be.
Sorry.
Oh, for the record, we should not talk about politics.
And I shouldn't have looked at Fox News before I came back over here.
Oh, I saw what you saw.
Oh, that's unnecessary. I should be
But we're
careful.
on camera now.
Yes. Sorry. I'll learn.
So nobody else at 1:30. We do have 2 at 3:00.
Well, we have 3 people scheduled, but one doesn't have an affidavit.
So turn the light off. Is it too dark for some people?
Only in their Zoom. They're always gonna be able to see, like, all the evidence we talk about, it's already given to the property. So they can follow along the whole thing.
I personally.
I'm gonna leave these on your desk there.
Yeah,
I
you-
agree. I like the light off.
we operated very,
There's no rest.
like, the
I'll just
majority
leave
of
it
last year with one of the lights. The way we just did.
We're doing
So
We
we're.
got Zoom and phone for
we're
3
on to
o'clock.
3.
but are we doing an affidavit too?
No, there's no
Okay.
affidavit. I was mistaken. There's no
Yeah,
affidavit.
that's what I was.
Man, I tell you what, these mosquitoes are getting better. I mean, I welt up so bad.
They're big.
Yeah, that's the thing, you're huge.
Well, you can tell the ones that are just came inside that haven't eaten because they're really fast and you can't swat them. But if they've been on somebody, then they're kind of fat and slow and like they're easy to smack and you can really tell the difference. You hit them pretty easily and
Blood goes everywhere.
Yes. And you don't want to roll down your window and let it blow out because 10 more will blow in. But you know it's really bad when you put your car in reverse and you can see them buzzing around the backup camera.
Oh,
It's so bad.
Is it the county that's aerial sprays or is that the city?
The county does, and the county runs a truck array.
Okay, I've seen it.
Do they actually do that?
I think they do everywhere, so.
Yeah, they run.
They did, not here in the last few days, but they did a couple of weeks ago. You could tell one morning. They do.
But those dunks work well. And if you got any kind of water feature at your house, those little donut things,
Yep.
those work well. And those sprays, $10 for a thing, and they say it lasts for months. It lasts until you get a good rain next time.
Yeah.
But it really knocks them down. I mean, my yard was just so covered with them. And I sprayed everything down. And then the next day for several days, it was pretty great. They're really working.
That's what I have, promethium. I run promethium at what it calls for. And I put a little bit of Dawn. So it sticks just a little bit. Just 1 or 2 drops of Dawn and it runs in a 2-gallon like pump sprayer.
Okay.
And it's only like an ounce or so. You know, it tells you that if you push it, it regulates how much is in there.
Right.
And you put that and you put it on all your stuff, like in the corners of where your porches are, like all the surface.
You can spray the bricks, you can spray the side of the house. Okay.
Yeah, you can do promethium and just water, but I like to put 2 drops of Dawn because the surfactant helps make it
Great
stick.
stuff for that.
But I do it on the trees, I do it on my walkways, I do it in my,
How often do you do it?
well, just after a heavy rain. And like Scott said, it's good until you get the next heavy rain or 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever comes first. You
So
know?
they say it's supposed to last months, but
No.
it just really doesn't. When you get a hard rain, it kind of does.
And I
what
put
it
it
does.
on everything. I put it on the grass, put it on the walkway, I put it on the ground, I put it in the corners. You know, like where you walk in to your house, wherever that is. I mean, I put it heavy in there. I don't want any mosquitoes wafting in when I walk in.
We also hang those Spartan things around the neighborhood. The thing got at Moore's, it's a tube and you fill it with warm water and it produces kind of a sweet smelling something and has little holes and they go inside it. No, they go inside it and they can come back out.
Okay.
But the idea of them going inside is then it does something to them. I don't know if it sterilizes them or what it does, but it's a long-term solution.
Okay.
It draws them in first, so it's a kind of a long-term thing. But 2 of them does like an acre or something. You know, I mean, so
Okay.
like for our neighborhood, is we have 2 or 3 of them up, and it's enough for the whole neighborhood.
Okay.
Well, the only good news about it is
Which
so
one's
big,
the
they
three?
can't get through your screens.
And they're
Yeah,
costly.
you
I
have
don't know which
screens,
one.
they don't fit.
No wonder they were miserable. I mean, they must have been eaten alive before air conditioning here. Must have been a
yeah.
rough
Oh,
place
God.
to live.
Ooh.
Well, and back then too, if you didn't have like a solid structure to be in, what did you
They come to
do?
the walls.
No, I mean, no, I'm talking about like when you're talking about Karankawa, like Indians or whatever, like people when they were here.
Oh.
That what did they kind of a shelter did they stay in that was even enclosed that you could
Didn't they put a lot of mud on their skin?
maybe
Like
so.
They put just mud on their skin so that they couldn't get
People were probably a lot more odoriferous back then, and maybe the mosquitoes went, ooh. You know, I mean, it could be.
Man, I'd be odoriferous if that's all I had. I would sweat it out.
Yeah.
But they like certain, I don't even know what my blood type is,
They
but they
like
say they
B.
like certain blood types more than
They
others.
like B blood.
Oh, really?
I have B blood.
Gosh,
They
they
love
couldn't
me.
get eaten up, man. It just is terrible.
Yeah, I think it's B and AB or.
I couldn't believe going out wading the other day. The wind was really light and they were getting me as I was walking down the road getting to my spot. And then I went in and the wind was light enough that they followed me out and I was trying to fish and they were still on me.
I don't have any standing water around my house.
We have a little pond and I keep those dunks in it all the time because otherwise it's bad.
Those in the country club,
Pond.
the gutters, well, the ponds.
Gutters.
The gutters, it was enough rain that you got a little bit of oozing and seeping out of ground that's above the level of a gutter.
Yeah.
And so they're getting green, nasty.
Just put diesel fuel on it.
That would work well.
What?
Yeah, just a few drops of diesel.
Yeah,
Okay.
or three.
On what? On what?
Diesel.
With standing water.
Yeah.
Put diesel fuel on
Or a couple of deals of Dawn.
Yeah,
You change the surface tension of the water and it messes up all the.
Yeah, they don't want.
Is that what it is? Okay, because I've heard that Dawn works. I wondered how it
You
works.
can spray Dawn and water on your plants for, what do you call them? Aphids and
Uh-huh.
mealybugs and all kinds of things. You don't have to go buy expensive.
Okay, chemicals.
Dawn and water.
Okay.
But you have to do it, every time it rains.
Yeah.
No, that's the mosquitoes. No, I'm not sure how often you have to do that with other bugs.
I run promethium.
But
I
it
run
works.
promethium after it rains.
Promethium and then the Dawn.
Yeah, I run it.
Now I'm talking about just to kill aphids and use the same stuff.
I don't have a regimen that I recommend. I mean,
But
that
the
sounds
aphids
good.
and mealybugs, they can, different kinds of plants.
Or at the farm where my wife grew up, the other side of Senate. Her dad has about a half a gallon in an old brown glass
DDT?
jug of,
How do you like using
no,
two
not
screens?
DDT.
I love it. I've never thought it was a great thing until
It's against the law.
I didn't think it was like that big of a thing.
I used.
But it's
I
great
had
with
Chloridane
on
down
really
around
well
there. We use
here now
chloridane
is
at the house.
This screen
Log of
and
this.
that as you're sitting back here
We moved
are
down
the
the
same
lake.
thing. In past
And
years, we
I had
didn't have the
chloridane
second
when I was
screen.
down in
The second
Honduras.
screen was
They
that
sold
computer, which this computer
street
is
water.
is the public
You can buy it
computer, it's
anywhere.
not hooked up to the
Yeah,
network, so
you
if
can
somebody
buy
comes in,
I
like
still
got a
have
flash
tiny
drive,
little red one.
it goes
So
in
when I
there,
was
so
in Dallas, I
nothing-
had
Yeah,
you know, it's the
discovered termites.
blood-brain barrier or
Yeah,
whatever
right.
from it. Anyway, and so here, this is set up, and actually that's been part of the sound problems has been the fact that
Great
this
stuff.
tries to put sound through speakers, internal speakers here, and it has difficulty there, but having this,
This
like
wasn't
here,
Eagle
when
Egg,
I'm
was
working
it?
on whatever this is,
Eagle.
because of this system, I have to move the
Soft
whole,
Eagle
the
Egg?
whole of this over so that you all can see that.
DDT,
But when
You may
this
be right.
screen
It
wasn't here,
softened the eagle.
You may be
and I
right.
did this, and then, I'm gonna go back to what we've already done. Anyway, actually, Here's one missed it. And so when I would go in here and open up the property and gonna be doing something to
3
it,
o'clock,
when
we'll
I
know.
move, go to this
Got an
improvement
affidavit
and
for
I
sure.
would pull it up here, this is
No
what
people?
this did.
I think we have a telephone.
And when I pull this up to do something
Telephone
in
at
it,
3 and an affidavit, yeah.
this, I would have to be seeing that over there and trying to see what it says and put something in this box
Yeah.
that I can just do right here now. And so that's been what's really helpful is I can go in and do it off the screen and I don't have to do that. And you all can see what I'm doing. And so it worked really well, being able to do that. I can get in there and work on and work on them. And generally,
No.
you all are making a decision and you're just making a number decision. This is a number. In some cases, when they're bringing something in that's more than just a number, it's somebody saying, asserting, this is the size or this thing. Sometimes we will make a change internal into them. Whereas if you all just make a decision and say it's X dollars, I can just put in X dollars and it'll just stick it somewhere. I mean, it'll just do it 5% or off of one thing, or it'll put it in there. But when we're trying to make a specific change, because that change is something that should be in there permanently, because that's the size of that. You know, that when we're making that change, that should be in there permanently. So, you know, or as permanent as it is until someone makes a change, until they make their portrait bigger or smaller or something else.
But do you use Alt-Tab to switch around windows at all when you're using the machine or?
I don't because I've got everything here. I've got optometry open here so we can see what the picture of it is. And I know I don't have that many things going on. I really have these things going on. And like here, when I go into, when I'm in this and I'm looking at evidence, this is our evidence and this is the property owner's evidence. And when I would go in there, I would just click on one of them and say view, and it sticks it right over there. And so it's just there. And then I try to just be good about closing them in between, because then that way, as they're closed, then I don't get confused. All I have to do is just say view again. It just pops it over here to the screen. It pops it wherever you last had it. And
I
that's where
saw it
last
once or
had it.
twice.
And so
It used to go.
it goes
to
better.
lunch
It's
with a
a lot better than it used to
To
be.
the Charlie's party group, that's how I met Charlie.
Oh.
Pretty reasonable how it works.
And yeah, it was pretty 1980s inside.
Yeah, having two screens.
Yeah, it's much better.
I only operate on one screen, digitally, but it's still one screen. But I also rely on Alt-Tab watch to switch between windows.
Yeah. Well, see, my wife uses at home, you have to have multiple screens. I mean, you probably know that you have to have there's a hardware piece, you have to have some sort of a splitter that's additional processor, or it's something additional that makes it switch out. I'm not sure what it is. But we didn't have that on there. And her big issue was not necessarily having the multiple screens, it was having it be big. Her answer to that was her screen, she has one screen and it's like this big. And you can do that same thing. You can open up Excel twice.
Yep.
And just have two of them and work next to each other on the same screen is one way you can do it. And so it just depends on how you're how you're configured.
See, because I have my main machine is, doing business is a laptop, but it's on a docking station.
Yeah.
It's an IBM docking station, which it already has multiple video outputs on the back, so to hook multiple screens up.
But you can hook multiple screens up, but are they going to be showing the same thing?
Restaurant, Taste of Texas.
At least in the display properties, you can say,
Really good place.
it'll detect both screens. And then you have the ability, at least in Windows 10, and I think in the older Windows too, to say,
But this display this on screen too.
Very good.
yeah, extend screen one to the other display, in which case it's showing both the same thing on both screens, or they actually use it as two different displays.
They very well.
And the other house I've seen is
Okay.
from a resolution standpoint.
It's related or not.
Windows doesn't seem to do very well, at least when you have one big screen and one smaller screen. At least what I saw on somebody's machine that I was playing with was trying to use the lowest resolution
Yeah.
on both
Out there
displays.
2 mornings a week, like Monday and Tuesday.
Which I can kind of understand how that's a challenge from an operating
Now,
system standpoint, because
President of
if
the
you're sliding things back and forth,
the neighborhood too.
how does it deal with, and in particular when it goes,
I know, South belongs
you know,
to the-
where you're halfway between, right?
Right, oh, yeah. when you're-
What resolution is he
Yeah.
gonna use?
Halfway.
Yeah,
Right
exactly.
there, yes, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is, here, we,
Who is the president?
initially, when we were doing these, we had these old monitors, and the idea was just get
It's a thankless job.
one bigger new monitor, and we did
I
that.
truly will be glad.
And
Get my gear.
not for back, but like each of us had that. And so I had one little one, and what I ran on it was this, and then we'll do appraisals on this, which is, you know, this matters what you're looking at, and what really matters, if you go back here and you look at 2017, is we had really great imagery from 2017, and so we'll see about this house then. Yeah, see that it looks like then. But when you zoom into this,
They weren't through general managers.
is that you can see,
Oh my God.
like, see how blurry that is,
Yeah,
and you see
right.
how this is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even a situation where like I zoomed in on a garage that was missing the roof, and I could like tell what frame was tight. I mean, like, it was like that was still sitting in there, which told me, I mean, like, this is some detail here, you know, and on this compared to this is, you know, if you didn't know what you were looking at, I mean, maybe it's a boat.
Yes.
Who knows? But I mean, the thing is this mattered at some point, you know, what the detail is, and we still go back to this for some things, you know, we'll go back to this year, especially if we're trying to see something that was still there, you know, whatever that you know was different, you know, and like you can like notice different things, like that's new, that's this, you know, that's something that wasn't there
Site,
before.
and I had to go resurrect where it
Yes.
was, but they had the coolest
There's-
rendition
That house or something.
of
Which side?
of imagery where you bring up an area
Yes.
and
That is a Hogan home.
and then you had a slider, and you could just move the slider back and forth, and it would show now.
Well, I saw that with the hurricane thing where you could do it and just wipe it across and show the differences
Yeah.
between them.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really a cool rendition.
Yeah, I mean, this one you can tell the difference between
Yeah, right.
there and there, and this may be an entirely new, I think this is an entirely new house, but,
Yeah.
you know, that's where you end up
Those are Hogan homes.
here and like seeing that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
and
go,
then the
well, what
one
happened
on the
here?
other side of the street, just down about half a
Mhm.
block,
There, and
that's
You end up
framed
seeing it
and
here.
got the Tyvek
Seeing what's
around
happening.
Oh,
it. It's
okay,
about-
yeah.
See, that's a home, Hogan home.
See
Is that a spec home?
Yes.
what are the differences and what is the,
Further
you
down
know,
is the
increments
one.
over time as to what,
Yes,
I
you
have
know,
a
what
lot.
has happened.
okay,
I don't have
This person, you know, what they bought, you know, is an
Those are
entirely
nice lots.
yes,
They're on the
house.
the non-fairway side, yeah,
it's gonna take a lot of clearing to get there.
yeah.
So it's clear.
What did we do before we had
Fine, it's
computers?
their property,
Yeah.
they don't care, they just have somebody clear it.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Where,
You haven't had too many controversies on that.
no, not too many. There was one gentleman that showed up, and I've been on the board long enough to know, you know, what I think will cause controversy and what won't.
Oh, I know who it is.
And some people will bring stuff up, you kind of go, no, we're not doing that, you know. But there was one gentleman that has lived in the neighborhood for 22 years. Suddenly, deer have become a problem.
Oh dear, oh my goodness.
You know, we gotta do something about the deer. There's too many. People are feeding, you know, deer
People
gotta
are
go.
feeding them.
You know, I know they are, and
And do you know who they are? You can tell because they poured up at those houses at sort of 5 o'clock.
yes, there's one house on Peachtree.
Yeah,
Where they, you can see they just poured on the driveway there, that turquoise house.
yeah. right.
Yeah. And you're really not doing the deer any favor by feeding.
All right, now they should be in hog heaven. They got all this green grass growing,
Yeah.
plants growing, good lord, they should be doing fine.
Hibiscus are really yummy. They love them.
them.
They love the hibiscus. Really
I
yummy.
don't ever put hibiscus out.
We have affidavits on 91 and 101. If they don't call in, we'll do them by affidavit. If they do call in, we'll do them by phone or Zoom or something. But we have to wait till 3:15 to make that decision.
Call, okay.
How come you guys on Peachtree? On the left-hand
You said
side.
99?
You got a trailer, turn left. on
91 and
Peachtree.
101.
4 houses down, guy. Did they put that stand up? And how did you guys let him get away with that?
If we had it to do all over again, we wouldn't have done it.
How did, it would have had it, he presented.
Well, he built what he
It
said he
looked
was
like,
gonna
it
do.
looked like crap the first time. Now it looks okay.
Yeah, we had to come down on him after about a year, because it was like a continuous construction
Well, he's
project.
out there 24/7.
Yeah, it's like, William Huff is the guy's name. We had to tell him, look, Bill, you need to get this done. Finish it and get it done.
Did you allow him to build that porch thing or whatever you want to call it, where he elevated?
Yes,
He's
the
got a TV
elevated
up there
deck.
now, He's got all kinds of things.
We had every board member weighed in on it. And it was not unanimous when we
Really?
approved it.
I would think it would have been, because, I mean, a lot of people, when I first drove by it, after he first started working on it, I was like, how did he get past that?
Yeah, we approved it, and he built what he said he was gonna build. And our rationale was that some people build decks, some people put storage buildings
Yeah.
on their empty lots. And the way he presented it was, he wanted it raised so he could store his lawnmower and his
Oh, is
stuff
that right?
underneath it, which I think he's doing. And he said he would get all of his yard tools that are hanging on the side of his garage on the outside. He would get all those and he'd store them underneath, which sounded like a good deal to us.
Yeah.
And he had Smith Wyndham draw up the plans for the thing. We looked at it and we said, okay, you need to put some lattice work around it. You can plant bushes around it so it doesn't appear that it's so
It
tall.
looks like a deer stand down in the wilderness somewhere, only
Yeah.
big, it's really
Yeah.
big.
Yeah. Yeah, that's created a lot of.
But no, he put those little half wheel wagons and then, was working on this little patch and then that little patch, and he had certain weird rocks and things.
We made him take those rock things away.
Oh,
because
did you?
That was not part of his approval.
Oh,
and-
good.
And neighbors started saying, wait a minute
Yeah,
here.
he's
God,
getting
now he's
really
got
out
these
of
big
control.
boulders here, and yeah. And the neighbors, even before he built the raised deck, they were kind of like, they didn't really like it. It's like, the guy's he just wants his own little park there.
Yeah, exactly.
I
He
get
said
his- I get
I've
his
never
side of it.
driven by there that he wasn't out there.
Yeah, I think his wife doesn't like him in the house, and that's his outlet.
Oh, I saw her out there the other day for the first time.
Oh, did you?
Maybe she was just surveying, whatever.
But as long as he's not constructing all the time, as long as it looks like he's not continually building, people settle down, but
Yeah, I've seen him, one time I went by, he had a TV out there.
yeah, we made him take that down. Yeah, that was a little too much. We made him take the signs down. He had signs, Margaritaville signs and stuff. We said, no, the TV and the signs can come down. That was not part of
I thought
the
that was-
original application.
We used to have a putting green and whatever out there.
Yeah, the park originally was one of the things he wants to do with it. He wants to make a croquet court.
I was just gonna say croquet.
His buddies, I guess he and his buddies like to play croquet.
You
So
wanna do that?
yeah, there's nothing.
I guess he
All
can,
good.
it's his property.
Play croquet in your
Yeah.
empty lot
Croquet's
next
coming
door.
back. I used to play, did you all play croquet when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Well, it's coming back now, but it's more sophisticated. I don't know how, but it is. I don't know what they did to
How do you
it.
make
but
croquet
Maybe the wicks are
sophisticated?
closer or further apart, I don't know. what they
The
did.
kind of rubber you put on the end of the mallet, I think. Is,
Further.
Rubber on the melon? I don't have anything on
Where you whack the ball?
This is wood.
Yeah, well, that's how you make it more sophisticated, by using different kind of,
Oh. Okay.
because the newer rubber has got more oomph to it, so that all you gotta do is tap it, and the balls and sails.
I don't know if they changed the rules or what they did to it, but it's making a comeback. Good thing about it. This light rain starting in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I wish it
Got
save some of this rain for
Was it
later.
supposed to rain today?
Yeah, it was supposed to rain last night, late.
Supposed to rain Saturday, but.
Down at the farm where my wife.
How do
grew
you
up.
get a pebble in the bead of the tire?
Like, get in the bead on
On the road.
Oh, in the bead. Wow, I don't know.
That's what it was.
It's just stuck in the bead so it couldn't seal and then,
I guess.
wow.
Oh, yeah, I
I've
think
never
it's
heard of
it
such a
ran close to a curb or something, but.
Between my house and JJ's.
The farm where my wife grew up on the other side of Sin, they've had, I think, more rain than we've had here. They probably had over 20 inches now.
Oh my God.
Some of the fields are just outright flooded.
Well, going to Corpus, the fields on both sides of the road, like when I came back from the airport last night, were flooded. And I don't know if they had planted the fields yet or not. You would think they would.
Everything should have been
I would think
planted.
they would have been, well, they're not gonna be, it's not.
Yeah,
The water was about this deep out there.
Yeah. We've got one piece of acreage, 320 acres, that the farmer planted cotton on. It was so dry when he planted it, it didn't come up. And then here comes the rain, it just flooded, it's just not coming up. So that'll be a loss. The corn that he planted earlier, it was up, and so that'll do okay.
I thought we only had about 11 inches. Do we have more than
That's about right, about 11 inches.
that? Yeah, I'm going out there. I guess they won't be having any water restrictions after a while.
I looked the other
Are they
day.
still in place?
Lake Texana's pretty much remains 100% full. Lake Corpus Christi was 50% and rising, and it's probably come up quite a bit. And even Choke Canyon was going from 33 to 36 to it's probably 38 or 39% now. Full, because they got a lot of rain up in that watershed area. That's big lake.
But that's all it's taken up to is like 39%.
Well, I haven't looked in the last few days, but yeah, I'd be surprised if it was over 40 because it fills up really slow. Because I mean, it is, I guess, a huge lake. I mean, it's like twice the size or 3 times the size of Lake Corpus Christi, I think. But you can look, you just type in Choke Canyon water level. There's a website that the state maintains that will give you that percentage full. Yeah, I think even after all the rain in September and October.
42.1%.
42, okay, yeah, coming on up then.
I remember seeing like Medina Lake when I was living in the hill country, seeing it down something crazy like 100 feet or something like low or something
Okay.
at the dam. But there were all these people that you would, live in these hills, and it had been down for several years. It was just going down, 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 and it was draining out. And these people lived in these hills, and you would not know that they're on the water, but they would have these docks that stuck out to nothing. And it was so far away from them, there were like whole kind of canyons where there was nothing. And like it used to be, like usually water came up to here, whatever kind of thing. And you're looking at it going.
So the lake
Wow.
would like finger out into
It
all
would
these
finger all
canyons.
out, and it was only just like this little bit at the bottom. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like a little kind of nothing. And
Yeah.
and I remember us getting, and then we ended up getting, like 30 inches of rain in like 2 days or 3 days. And, that goes a long way to filling stuff up because it's different there than here because 30 inches of rain all funnels and like,
Yes.
5% of it sinks in, the rest of it all just heads downstream somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Lake Travis is kind of that way too. It
exactly.
fingers out. You get
huge,
times where
you get huge rises sometimes. It's just, it'll come up 40 feet in a day.
Okay.
And then Charlie looked up that way, and the dam, Mansfield Dam, was the roadway. Let's see, 715 is the spillway, and then the roadway is a little bit above that.
Okay.
And they had all these protocols for when it got to 690 and 695, and who took control of the dam,
Okay.
and what the criteria was, because people were always griping. Travis was the flood control dam,
Okay.
so they kept all the water.
But it's only 6. Well, I don't know, maybe.
They'd have to let
it's
water
6.
out, and we'd end up filling Lake Austin down below the dam.
Okay.
And they get flooding there, and people would gripe about the flooding, right? But it gets to a certain point where they say they just want to balance the destruction between
Upstream and
and downstream.
Balance the dollar loss.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
what happened
at
in
some
Houston.
point, they reach the point where their criteria is to save the dam.
Okay.
That's when the Bureau of Land Reclamation takes over.
Okay. That's what
Only
happened a lot in West
Only
Houston.
objective is save the dam.
Are we 101 or 91?
This one is going to be case 91. It is a phone hearing. So when we're ready, I will dial in the number.
Y'all ready?
91. It's Mr. Chen. Yes, 3 o'clock docket.
Mr. Chen?
Yes.
We're still rolling, right?
They are.
Go ahead and dial them up.
Okay.
Mr. Chen?
Yeah.
This is Charlie Powers at the Appraisal Review Board. How are you today?
You too.
Okay, we have some administrivia to go through. Just bear with us, okay? I'm opening a hearing on case ID 2021-91, account 15861. This hearing is being recorded. We are the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protests today. We do not work for the Appraisal District. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. The Comptroller's Office provides an electronic survey for you to offer feedback about your experience today that may be accessed at the Appraisal District or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. In accordance with Tax Code Section 41.45H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. We have everything in your affidavit. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The ARB members who are considering your protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. And I'll begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Texas Code Section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Scott Waggart, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming, sir, that you are under oath as you signed the affidavit. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
My name is Michael Soto. Do solemnly swear affirm the testimony shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Mr. Chen, do you have a Texas appraiser license?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you have the procedures in front of you with the time limits on each part of the procedure?
I think so, yes.
Okay. There are two columns. You get to go first, or you can choose to let Mike go first. Which would you like to do?
Let me go first.
Okay.
All right. You have 5 minutes.
All right. So my protest is that in the Appraisal District evidence tax, the state appraisal value method is called the improvement broke down. The detail has half MAS, which is downstairs unit, 490 square foot unit price at $78.23 compared to the type MA, which is upstairs unit price at $86.02. However, this downstairs unit price is overpriced, and this area is storage area has no AC, no wall insulation, no cabinet, no toilet or sink or shower. It is here attached to photo. So we believe the fair unit value is around 132, especially the enclosed garage equivalent. And hence total value of this area is around $15,680 compared to appraisal value $36,030. This including the total property value around $396 and $980. So, and we request a settlement value of $398.
Okay. Tell me again the improvement number, or the amount of the improvements. What was that number again?
Improvement is it's in the line item, it's the line, second line to the bottom, which is 490 square foot, unit price $78, and its type is measured as MAS, it's under main area.
Okay, yes. So you're saying that $78 and or $78.23 should be less?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to let the district talk to that. Anything else?
The fact that my main protest point is I think that house price is too high, so property value should go down accordingly.
Okay. Mike, you want to make your presentation?
Sure, well, I get the cross-examination at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in the cross-examination, the very first thing that you have is a blank affidavit, but then you fill it in at the end of the evidence, but that's okay. The very first picture I see is of a washroom, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. On the upper right-hand wall, is that an air-conditioned bed, or what is that?
No air conditioning vent, because this enclosed area, I am afraid of airflow, so I punch a hole to the next, the larger area.
Okay, so it goes to the large,
No AC.
so it goes to the larger area, okay? And so that's a reverse of that. Oh, so, and this is the other area, huh? That
Yeah.
has the ceiling fan in it with the ladder?
Yes, she will, that other, in the next to that under.
Is that,
With wall separates.
okay, is that an air-conditioned space?
No air conditioning, no insulation either. If you can go down to the storage room, the last picture you can see I put the dehumidifier over there. That's it. I don't have any AC. And then you can see the vent on the storage room. There's a vent. The other side of the vent is the laundry room vent.
Okay, but, so you have a refrigerator downstairs. Is this just gonna be like a glorified storage area, or what is it gonna be?
Yeah, this refrigerator on top, I got extra refrigerator. I'm trying to give away and or dump, so it's temporary just in there. You can see it's no cost.
Is this a house?
Yeah, this is the house. He's just, all of these pictures are just the downstairs area, and he's just talking about changing that from a MAS to like an SU, like a storage under. It's a pretty nice storage under. I mean, with the ceiling fan and everything, you can see how this could be possibly plumbed for AC pretty quickly. So I don't mind making an adjustment to the SU, but I'd give it like SU 200% or something like that, based on his evidence, like what he's presented. Would you even, I guess I should go into my evidence just so I don't run out of time. But that's my rebuttal, is that there's no problem making that a non-air conditioned space, but it's a really nice storage under. I've seen some really just ratty ones. This is not that. Okay, so let me go into my evidence just so I can support the value that we have on the subject. So we currently have a value of $417,000. Continue on. You can see over here, 417 and change, the next property. This is where it is on, Coconut Cove Road. And the subject was built in 2008. You can see some other sales in the area of 441, 417 for comps number 1 and 2. Continue on. This one over here, comp number 3 is 516, and comp number 4 is 418. So you can see that sales in that area support the market value for the subject property. When did this subject sell? Go back. Was it just the land sale? Land sale back in 2007. So this is an original build house. You can see that this was a land purchase way back when. Okay, continue on. By the way, that land sale, 15 years ago or in 2007 is 150,000. We have 142 on the land, so that market value is good. It's further supported by other market transactions in that area. Keeping on, is market value the only thing protested, or market and equity?
No. We're good.
Okay, so that's all we have. I do want to point out that the median value is 419. The subject is only at 417, so this market value is supported by the median value, doesn't exceed it, so we're good there. All I guess we need to address is this little MAS at 490 square feet. We would change that to an SU and give it a functionality of like 200 or 300% because it's a nice finish out for a storage under. But if that's all I have as far as my evidence. I'd be glad to go into that calculation now if the board wants me to go into that calculation now.
Yeah.
Just-
You got 2 minutes left. Yeah,
Okay,
why
sure.
don't we go ahead and do that? You'll get some more time here in a minute, Mr. Chen.
That's fine.
Go to MAS.
It can be also utility under.
So what they're doing is they're gonna make
Yeah.
the calculation as to what
use.
the value, the new value would be
User.
based on a different class in the understorage.
It should just do SU.
And
And then do 2.
my speaking value in the 2007, I thought that the peak up there. Before the top line, something like that.
36,000 right there.
I really thought
That's what it is.
was-
Yeah.
Because it, 2008
Good, good,
and
good
Russia,
option.
so that's why the name doesn't go up.
Recalculate. No, that's good. That's good.
So 200%, throwing this in under like a storage under, this is the code storage under contributory is the code up there. And then throwing it because it's nicer than most storage unders with your 200% on the functionality of it. This takes this price. This was 36,000 and change. This is down to 24 and change. So, $12,000 off this number. So the overall hit okay or recalculating okay. Yeah, that's good. And then close this and go to summary. So this takes this number down to 412 and change.
Okay.
Now the reason for that, you would say, okay, wait a second, we were at 417, we took $14,000 away from the equation. What actually happens is when you take that away from MAS, it changes the economy of size or scale for the main area. So notice that the main area price per square foot went up because, okay, if you want to ask the question, I'll be ready. But that's the answer.
Okay. All right. Mr. Chen, you have 2 minutes for cross-examination and then 2 more minutes for protester rebuttal. So you have 4 minutes if you'd like to speak some more.
Yeah, I wonder why later we go up, we take that away. I mean, yes, certainly it is nice area, and but it's not only no AC. I cannot just put AC on window AC because the wall is not insulated at all. There's no insulation, just one outside siding, inside just the sheetrock. There's nothing between the wall, and so I wonder why we may have a lot. We mentioned we do the calculation how you take 5,000.
Yeah, that's a great question, Mr. Chen. It's called an economy of size or scale. So if you have more units of a thing, the price per unit is less. And so essentially what you've done is you said, okay, there's not as many units, so the price per unit goes up. And I was actually getting to that right when the time kicked off, but I can actually show you where that is in the property. So in our evidence, I think what we showed, well, go ahead and just go to the main area. If you did the, and this is not the best way to see it, go to cancel here. Go to our evidence right here, just behind it. Scott, go right here. And then go back to the card. So notice that the main area has a certain number of units with it. But it also, it looks at this number of units, plus it looks at the MAS, which is the 490. So it's looking at the 1760 plus the 490. It's thinking it's like, 2,400 or 2,200 and change or something like that. It's thinking that this house is that big. But when you say, okay, that this is not that tight, all you're left with is here. So instead of this baseline price at 86 and change, now what you can see is like if we go back into the thing and do a print preview, I don't know, will that jack you up, Scott?
Yep.
Instead of 86 and change, it went up to 91.90. And that's just because in that detail, there's certain breaks. And the higher the number of square feet, the less price per unit there is. I can actually show you the detail right here to prove that there's nothing hinky going on. I can actually go back into that account right there and you can see the detail for that particular one. But that's what it is. It's an economy of size.
Yeah. Can I speak?
Yeah, sure, Chin, Mr. Chin.
Okay, so basically, my overall living area goes down. Only under this, if I put on for sale, my living area only like 1,770,
1760. Yes, sir.
Square foot.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So when you do the comp, you on your evidence, you do the comp, they are leaving you. My comp was 2250, which is wrong. I mean, I should be 1760. So comp to compared to other 2117. I mean, all those are kind of the comp itself should be recalculated because my living area is instead of those 2250 became 1760. So not just this has to. I mean, you cannot just say keep living area, so put the cost onto the existing living area.
Okay, that's a valid question about, hey, my comps were all a certain thing, right? And they would be adjusted accordingly. Instead of being 22 something, it would be 17 something. That's a valid question. The remaining thing that we would do, and one of the main things of contention was, this is not living space, it's storage area. We've changed it to storage area. It would feed the same, it would feed this way. Now we did 200% because it's nicer. If the board wants to say, what would it look like regular storage area? I can look at that. I mean, but it's a nice storage area.
Yeah,
But his,
I would like to see that at some point.
Yeah.
his point is that the comparison to the other comps
Right.
was done at 1740 plus the
Plus
490.
1740 plus the what?
The
490.
Yeah, I can look at, and I can go back to the grids and I can show you what those price per square, I can show you all of that they were appropriately adjusted. I mean.
Yeah. But now we've changed the description of
That's okay.
490
That's okay.
square feet of it.
Because essentially what you would do is you would look at that set of comps plus others that maybe had less square footage
Right.
in their initial comps. I'd be glad to address that. If you go back to my evidence. Comp number 2 is 1,794 square feet. It sold for $417,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this theory that it's going to blow this thing up, when you look at the appropriate adjustment, this is kicking out a value of 407. So if the number is not 412 and it wants to be 407, okay. I mean,
It's gonna be close.
But isn't that 407 considering the
The 407 is considering the 2250.
yes.
Yeah, but the point is if this were 17 and change, 1760,
Right.
and you're trying to get some semblance of what is a 1,700 square foot house in this area go for, well, okay, let's just say all of this is just SU, which he's made that claim, we've adjusted it. Then we're left with 1760 versus 1794, okay? That's the adjustment. I'm sorry.
With no adjustment.
Right, I mean,
Minimal adjustment.
yeah, it's a minimal adjustment. The end result is that the sell price was still 417,000 for 1,700 square feet. of a 5SS and a 5FP, really close. Effective age is identical. This is a really good comp right here.
Yeah,
It would-
what
it-
what I don't understand is how is that 417? Not considering, you keep pointing to 1760.
Uh-huh.
But you're also ignoring the MAS 490 down below.
So the MS 490, okay, so normally that's a great question. Normally the 417 compared to the 417 cell that gave 1790, and this one has 2250. So I'm gonna ask a question, in perfect world, which one is better from a more square foot standpoint? Let's ignore the fact that this is not really 1760. This one's better, the comp is better, right? I'm sorry, the subject is better. The subject is better. Why is the subject better? Because we're saying it's 2250, but it's not 2250, okay? In this calculation, minor adjustment, see this? Where's the big adjustment in the MAS? There's a $23,000 adjustment. So this number would actually be,
Less.
it would actually be less.
Yes, and that's where I was headed in that, and I think that's what Mr. Chen was trying to get at, is the adjustments down here. That 407.9 whatever is not taking out the difference in taking the MAS 490 in comparison to MAS none for that comparison.
Okay, so
this 23,000, it seems like to me, this 23,000 would go away, and maybe with some factor.
Right.
To adjust that 407 down some as
Yeah.
one of the comps.
Okay, so again, this whole comp, again, with sum factor. The sum factor is big because at the end result, if you took this MAS away, essentially it's storage area, and you took this MAS, which has none already, what are you left with? You're left with a 1760 versus a 1794, and the sale was 417,000. So yeah, there is some adjustment, but I mean,
Right, but it would be $23,000 worth of
Less.
adjustment.
but again, there's all kinds, there's another myriad of factors that are in there. I mean,
Well, yeah,
okay, let's do that.
without
Let-
trying. it,
Okay,
you won't
okay, but let's do that. Let's take away the 23,000 right here.
Do you want me to just
But
run
then,
it?
but then you add storage in there.
Yeah.
And you're left with,
What if we lower
Well,
the storage
take it for the,
value?
Yeah, and that was the other question I had, is what is this 100%, 200% or whatever?
Right.
Because while you say it's a nicely finished storage area, yeah.
that's my opinion. I mean,
Well, he's got sheetrock and it's painted sheetrock, but it's not insulated, it's not air conditioned.
it's floored in a portion of it. It's sheetrocked and got lights. It's better than than a ton of storage units I've seen in the bottom of Kia lately.
do the arithmetic for me.
Yes, I will.
407.9 minus 23 plus whatever you believe the MAS or the 490
407,
under
I'm gonna do
storage.
407,971.
407,971 minus the 23,000,
766 ought to be.
766.
Minus the 23,000 what?
766.
384.25, 205. That's what I get.
I get 384,205 plus the storage.
Plus the storage. Now, so we add back what you think the storage would be.
I think the
Certainly
storage-
Not that.
Give me the storage number, Scott.
Sorry, say again.
Give me the storage SU number that with the 200%. I say it's 200%.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
fine for now.
maybe the board disagrees with me or.
Go with that for
So
now.
it is for now.
It is. It is 24,280.
408,485.
Okay. Which once again brings it up.
If you want the storage, give me a storage number. Storage, no 200%. Just give me a storage number. SU. Because I'm getting shaking heads over here. I disagree, but that's okay.
I have like this whole grid redone if you want. Like,
Well, I can't present evidence that's
Okay.
not presented to the
Okay,
subject
you're
property
right.
owner.
Okay,
But you have to ask the prop, you can't just do, we can't present evidence that we didn't give the property owner.
No,
Right.
I was
Okay.
suggesting that. I wanted to follow up on your question to Scott. You asked.
So throw the SU at just regular.
Make
Okay.
it SU 150, because that is nicer
That's fine.
than
Throw-
the bare studs on a concrete floor.
Throw SU at 150.
That makes no sense to me at all. It going from an MA to
18
an
to
SU and how the total went up.
It's because the MA, that the price per unit of the regular is higher. The market reaction to it, it's evidenced in a recent sale right there. I mean, it's exactly, this is 1794 to 1760. That one sold, the effective ages are identical. They're within the same class, and it sold for 417. I
There's
mean,
no argument with that. The argument is only with the
Yeah, sure.
23,000 that was added for the
Sure.
MS none.
You got you. So we're at, I'm taking the 407,971.
Right.
Minus the 23,766.
Right.
Okay, that equals, can you write this down? 384,205
384,205.
plus, what is that number now?
18210.
18210. That comes to 402,415.
Okay.
And 18210
Is the
what
storage,
that number is.
that's the storage under, yeah.
That's the storage under.
At 150 is what I was told last.
That's what the.
What, why?
Okay, where are we?
That's
at?
what it calculates to be.
So we're
Probably
we're
over
close.
40% of neighborhood.
Where-
areas.
Oh, there's
who's
another neighborhood.
It's
Okay.
time for closing.
It's time for
both
both.
sides. So Mike went first.
Mike went first.
So Mike, you've got 1 minute to close, and then Mr. Chen will have 1 minute.
Yeah,
to
we were
close.
doing numbers, like we were doing addition and subtraction off of individual segments. This has a neighborhood factor. The real number is 405, but I said 402. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. My contention is that the only difference, I mean, there's multiples of differences here that all go into this number. But essentially, if you took away this MAS and you had a no MAS over here, there'd be $23,000 and change worth of value there, right? That you take away from the equation. But you would add the SU. And that number comes to 405 in my computer,
Right.
but it's 402 is what we calculated.
Right.
That's a really good set.
No argument.
Okay.
Mr. Chen,
You have
Yeah.
1 minute for final closing statements.
Yeah, I, even though I could have 398, I think 402 is, I can accept that value. So if appraisal agree to go down to 402, I will accept it.
okay, Mr. Chen, thank you very much.
All right.
402. 402,215. No, we can't do,
Round numbers to $10.
You can do-
To
do
$10.
anything you want.
to $10. 402,410.
210.
402,210.
200.
402,200.
I'll make a motion regarding account 15861 in addressing incorrect appraised market value based on what the protester presented and what the district presented. The appraisal review board is willing to reduce the property value from 417,330 to 420,000.
402.
402,200.
Second,
I'll second that.
in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chen, do you understand the final number?
Yes.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you for your study.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Scott's gonna finish that up, but our next one will be case number 101, and it will be by Zoom.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minute recess.
You're first, I'm good for that.
And it'll be the last case for the day.
Last case for the day.
Is John Hay the third?
Yes. He's in the waiting.
Yes. This will all work smoothly.
Yeah.
Were they really?
One now is true.
Properties he has. I'm seeing them in here.
He is Polo Venture.
Should have known that's the one that's not there.
Were you able to find?
I was looking into that. Yeah, I'm making a letter saying the wrong picture was included. I'll send the correct ones. And then the one guy, 30249, didn't get one. He was with the other. And I should have asked you about it. I think I remember him being like in juxtapositions on the thing, and I just thought, okay, well, everything that goes that way goes behind this letter.
They actually had the number on
The picture, I didn't look, and I just went with what I had, so I apologize.
Was it just the 6th?
It turns out to be
Just
4, and one, they got everything, but they got extra. One was correct, and then the other 2 that didn't have any PDFs were correct. So there's 3, and I'm working on the correction letter.
Is that a PDF for every single one of those? I'll show you. We'll talk
Okay.
about it. But I mean, every single one that had a partial removal, like I circled where it was, and we'll just send a letter that you got a map that was wrong. Here's the correct map. Sorry for the confusion.
Exactly.
You in the waiting room?
He is.
Oh, I thought there was gonna be Zoom.
It is.
Yeah.
He's in the Zoom waiting room.
The waiting room.
Oh, okay.
I can let him enter whenever you're ready.
And if Mike gets back, we'll look. This is 101, right?
Yes.
Let's see, it was online. It was just Q1. It was checked. Yeah.
can check. It's stuck.
Uh-uh.
It's
Not on this clock. There. Case 101.
Mr. Hay? Mr. Hay, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Good afternoon. This is Charlie Powers of the Appraisal Review Board. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm driving, so I don't have a photo on, but I'm here and fine. So thank you. How are y'all?
Okay, and your name was Hay, Mr. Hay?
Hay, correct.
Hay. Okay, we have some administrivia to go through before we get to the heart of the matter, so just bear with us while you're driving. We're opening a hearing on case ID 2021-101, account number 17189. This hearing is being recorded. We're the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protests today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. The Comptroller's Office provides an electronic survey for you to offer feedback about your experience today. It may be accessed at the Appraisal District Office or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveys-ARB. The survey is voluntary. We do appreciate it if you take it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination, and that will come in the mail after this is complete. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. We have all your evidence. Is that correct, sir?
Confirmed.
Very good, thank you. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with a person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Scott Waggart, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming, sir, that Mr. Hay, that you are under oath as a result of you signing the affidavit. Do you understand?
Confirmed.
Mike?
Yes, my name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear affirm that testimony shall present to the review board for the United States County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Mr. Hay, do you hold a Texas appraiser license?
I do not.
Okay. You're driving, so you obviously don't have the time limits page in front of you. Do you remember seeing the procedures times?
I have conducted these hearings in the past, so I'm familiar with how they operate. Yes, sir.
Okay, very good, sir. Do you want to go first, or you want Mike to go first?
I prefer that Mike goes first, if that's all right.
Okay.
All right.
Mike?
I'm gonna mute while he's talking, just so you don't have road rules.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I want to say that the subject property owner's opinion of value and our value are only 7% difference. We're not that far apart. He thinks it's worth $850. The district has a value of $910 on it. The biggest thing that we've seen that's at contention is that the subject property is currently on the market for 1.4 or almost 1.5 million. We currently have a value of 910,000. I've looked at the evidence for the subject property owner, and he's gonna go over his own evidence. But the main thing that's presented is just an appraisal. But the appraisal date is back in 20. And so you'll see that the market's increased since 20, from 20, we're in 21. And so we're not that far, like I said, just if you pull up the airplane, 30,000 foot elevation, we're not that far apart. Subjects on the market for nearly 1.5. We have 910,000. In 2020, the property owner is going to present evidence that he had an appraisal at 850. So, I mean, that's the reality of it. But the burden of proof is on the district to prove the 910. Okay, this is what we have. Why do we have 910? Okay, we have this subject property right here. It's on Copano Bay. It's got looking towards the northwest. Go to the next page. We're going over the comps now. Comp number 1 was a sale that you can see just down the road. That's at 3633 Copano Drive. That sold for $680,000. Now, they're very similar in classification. The biggest thing is the size. This is 1,800 versus the 52 and change that the subject is. It's a really big house. And so that particular one adjusts out at 941. The next one is also, it's on Loop 1781, sold for 685. Again, that one's bigger, but it's only 3,084 compared to the 52 and change that the subject has, just generally speaking. That one adjusts out to 895. The next one is also on Loop 1781. These are all on that northern or that northwest side of the peninsula. And this one sold for $2.325 million. Now this is a little bit bigger. It's getting into the size range of the subject property. It's got 4,014. It's a much nicer house in the subject property. It's a 7 compared to a 5. So that's why there's such a large adjustment here on this one, a negative adjustment there. There's also a large negative adjustment on the land element. So you can see even just between the classification and this land element, there's nearly $1 million adjustment just in those two elements. That's why it's comp number 3. It adjusts out to 858 when compared with the subject. Again, what our grids do is they just make comparisons with the subject as opposed to comps. They look at the differences, they look at the similarities. And ultimately, what you have is you have waterfront property on Copano Bay. It's currently listed for 1.4 and change. We currently have a value of 910,000. The subject property owner thinks it's worth 850. I believe that
The median value is 895.
Yeah, the median value is 895, which supports a minor adjustment change for the subject property. Instead of 910, 895, the subject property owner believes it's worth 850. There we are. I believe that this is an online appeal, and the only thing appealed was market value.
Yes.
So that's all the evidence that I want to present.
Okay, Mr. Hay, you have 2 minutes to cross-examine, and then you have 5 minutes to.
All right, I'm available. Sure. Okay. So, and thank you for laying that out. And I didn't catch his name from the county, but so he spent a lot of time talking about that we're not that far apart. I believe that indicates that first off, the appraisal has a missed date. It was actually January of 21, not January of 20. If you look at the comps used, that'll verify. You can confirm that. Clearly, they didn't know what comps were available in the future. So it's a mistype on that from the appraiser. Not uncommon when you roll to a new year because it was January 5th of 2021. Had an opinion value of 850. The value of this a dispute is, or a discussion is, what was the property worth on the first of the year this year? The listing value on the home has very little to do with the value it's worth. I clearly haven't sold it for what I've got it listed for. It's also marketed. It is income producing property, and that's not the way doesn't play into the way that the county or the state allows for valuation of appraisal district values. So the appraisal I have at hand, it has comps which are included in the appraisal district's valuation, or rather the different properties used in the comp grid. It doesn't include the $2 million approximate sale down the road, which is a much larger tract, a much more appealing tract, wider, larger, and the home was completely stud out, remodeled after Harvey. Boat dock, all the other things are of superior. I mean, he said a 7 versus a 5. I'm in real estate. I'd call it more than that, but it's substantially superior, which is why it was not used by the third-party appraiser. I refinanced in January. That was the reason for the appraisal. It just happened to come in handy based on y'all's or the county's 9/10 evaluation placed on it this spring. So I don't have any questions I need to ask. I'm simply pointing out where I believe the appraisal districts erred slightly, and if we want to call it 7%, that's fine. I mean, I'm confident in the $850,000 value. There's a third-party appraisal as such, conducted by Plains Capital Bank, who is my lender, complied with Dodd-Frank. I had no connection to or with that, and have testified as such. And I asked the ladies and gentlemen of the appraisal review board to adjust the value presented by the county to $850 and to settle this matter today.
Okay. Mike, you have 2 minutes.
And so just to verify and cross-examine, just on the very first page of this URAR report, the summary page, the date of 1/5/2020 is incorrect. It should be 1/5/2021. Is that the date of the appraisal, sir?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, it's correct. I refinanced in January of this year, or January, February this year. That's correct.
Pretty big mistake on the summary, not by you, but by the.
I understand, and we've all made it on the first week of the new year. I know, but yes, correct. In fact, I didn't notice it until you mentioned it in your testimony.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
But the comparable sales corroborate that, just to be clear. So, but yes.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. That's like he indicated, that's an unbiased opinion of value. I have an opinion of value. Mine's $895. This other person's is $850. That's why they pay you all the big bucks to decide between them. So
I'm sorry.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I'll go on mute and listen.
Okay. You do have 1 minute for closing if you wanted. If you have any closing statements.
No, I included it in the thing. We've already spent a lot of time, so I want you guys to be able to knock it out and get on to your next person. So.
Okay. For you, Mike, you have a minute. Okay.
I'm totally good.
All right.
$895.
Yeah.
Median.
Yeah.
I'll go to the median. $895.
Yeah, I'd go for that.
Motion?
That's there. So I'll make a motion here. So on case ID 2021-101, account number 17189, when it comes to Q1 or considering Q1 incorrect appraised market value, the appraisal review board would like to reduce the value of the house from $910,730 to $895,000.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Hay, your new number is 895,000.
All right, so I can live with that or see it in district court. That sounds like a great bargain. Okay, y'all, I appreciate, I know y'all are paid highly for this, so.
You presented excellent evidence. Thank you.
Yeah, I've done this a lot of times. It's rare I do it on my own house. So you caught me driving, I'll let it go. So that's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe Val said that's it, right?
Yes.
We have, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn today's meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm still gonna be here tomorrow.
Yes.
So,
I won't be here, I have an appointment at 8:30, and then I'll come here after that.
Right.
As long as he's gonna be here. Well, you have a quorum anyway.
I'm shutting down since y'all have.
That'll work. That's
Yeah.
great.
One in, one out.
And here's final order, and I'll print the